Action! Hello, everyone. My name is Kevin Brown. I am your district social worker here at Centinela Valley Union High School District. I'm at Student Support Services, which is right behind the district office, and also right behind Lloyd. I am also the Music Meetup Mondays host. That's Lloyd's Virtual Music Club. We meet up every Monday around 12:30, so if you're a student, Lloyd, come check us out. But for today, I'm going to be talking about our advisory video content. So we're going to be going over a number of things today related to teen development. I'm excited to talk with you and create a little video. So why don't we just get into it? Because we don't have a lot of time. So today we're going to be talking about teen development. So like, what kind of development am I talking about? Well, am I talking about what you want to be when you grow up? Maybe you want to be a baller, shot caller. Okay. I'm not going to sing, or maybe I will. Maybe you want to sing. Maybe you want to do that. Maybe you want to be an air traffic controller. Houston, we've got the airplane coming in here in about 4 or 5 seconds. Maybe you're not interested in any of those things and you'd rather cook. Maybe you are pretty handy and you want to fix things. That's cool too. All these things you can do. All these things are possible. And we're going to talk about it in a general sense, meaning, how do I become who I am? What factors influence that? We're going to go into it. Now, a couple guidelines before we start. This is a virtual workshop and it's a recording of a workshop. So you're over there and I'm over here, and there was probably like maybe a couple days in between. But I'd like for you to pretend that this was as in-person virtually as possible, real time. So think about what you relate to, all right? You might not relate to all of it, that's okay. Look for the similarities, not the differences. If things start to come up, that's all right. Maybe it's a feeling, maybe it's emotion, that's all good. It's okay. And if things come up and you want to talk more about that, I'm going to show you where we can do that, because we want to hear from you and we're going to create a space. If it seems like too much information at any given time, that's okay. You can come back for a second, take a little pause, take a deep breath. It's just information. It may not be your truth, or maybe it is. I don't know. Let's get into it. Okay, first thing we're going to do is a little grounding activity and a couple warm-up questions, and then we're going to go into the material, Erik Erikson's 8 stages of psychosocial development. And what that really means is about like our personality and whatnot. I'm also going to show you some contact information, so how to get a hold of us after the fact, because we want to hear from you, and some resources too, because there's some pretty cool resources here in Centinela Valley. All right, why don't we start by getting centered. Find a comfortable spot in your chair, turn off your phone for a second, or, well, who does that anyway? Let's just silence the phone. Maybe close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Like, is this guy going to sing Kumbaya? No, but I do encourage deep breathing. We take one breath to get centered. Another breath for cleanse. And then one more breath to begin moving forward. Just like that, 3 breaths. Pretty cool, pretty simple, and it works. Okay, so how are you doing today? Just do a quick little check, see how things are going. If you're number 1 there, hopefully this will make things better. If you're 2, cool. If you're 3, you're a little upset, you gotta sit through this advisory video, that's okay. I get it, don't worry about it. It's gonna be all right, it's not gonna be that bad. If you're the last one, or if you're any combination, that's okay. You can just be whomever you are, and that's all right, because that's what you are in the moment. And the moment sometimes passes. And that being said, I know sometimes it might seem like we're in the tunnel and it's dark, but there's light at the end of the tunnel. Hopefully we can all connect again here soon, and we won't be having to do this virtually. Okay, warm-up questions. Who is the greatest influencer on a teenager's psychosocial development? And when I say psychosocial, I'm talking about personality, their identity. Who do you think is the greatest influencer? Parents, peers, siblings, entertainers? Celebrities, athletes, maybe somebody else? Survey says all of the above, of course, depending upon someone's age. So younger folks might have an athlete as a role model. Maybe 14-year-olds, there were some trends in them having entertainers as role models. And then as we kind of got a little bit older, maybe friends are our role models. Maybe even older than that, maybe our family members are our role models. Or even older than that, maybe somebody else. These are actually from a study that was put out, and there were trends. So as a teenager aged, there were differences in who they looked up to or who they were most influenced by. Some of you may be thinking, is this my truth? Okay, what level of influence does a teenager have over their own development? Okay, now that's a good question. Right? Do you have a lot, ton, maybe some influence, a little bit of influence, no influence at all, or maybe not sure what the level of influence is, or maybe you've never even really asked yourself that question, like, who has shaped me to be who I am? The answer is that it depends, right? It depends on one's own self and their own identity. And if they have a strong sense of self, maybe they're more influenced by themselves. If they're more influenced by other people or kind of like persuaded, right? Not manipulated, just kind of persuaded, maybe other people influence me to who I am. This is kind of like some interesting stuff. Okay. Anyone taking the psych class or talked about psych and health? We go over these kind of things. Well, what affects my identity and sense of self, right? I mean, that's really kind of what we're going to go over today, and it's just kind of a brief overview. Well, let's dive into it. Now, Erik Erikson's 8 stages of psychosocial development. All right, Erik Erikson was like born in the 1900s, right? 1902. He was a developmental psychologist. He was focused on the impact of development, and from early childhood to older age. And he looked at the lifespan and how experiences affected people and how that affected their personality. He also coined the term identity crisis, right? Have you heard the midlife crisis? Anyone ever heard that, right? This can be kind of taken from that. And so, I mean, we kind of chuckle like, oh, so-and-so's having a midlife crisis. Sometimes we have what seems like a midlife crisis at 15. So there's no actual age. We all might be going through something and have a tough time and feel like it is a crisis, because it might be. And that's why we're here. That's why we're talking about that. So I just want to give a little graphic that the stages can be seen as such. It's a kind of the whole lifespan, right? So we start out in early childhood, or infancy, I should say, and it goes all the way around to becoming an older adult, and even like in your 80s and whatnot. And we're going to go into each of these. So just want to show the picture real quick. So let's go stage by stage. Okay, so the first stage is called trust versus mistrust. And it's like birth to 12, 18 months of age. And it's about like the parenting and the caregiver. They're good parents that they're able to be present and give that child whatever they need, the comfort, the nourishment, or are the parents not there as much, or even not just the parents, other siblings? Are the other siblings that are watching after a kid, or babysitters? Are they giving that baby everything that baby needs? Because I don't know if you've seen a baby lately, but babies can't feed themselves. So they need a little help with that, right? Important thing here is the caregiver consistent? Is it helpful? And if it's not, well, you know what? That's okay. These are just kind of things that might influence or affect an individual. And we'll talk about that. Now, next stage, autonomy versus shame and doubt, 18 months to 3 years. That's like early childhood, right? They might have that kids like in their terrible twos, right? Like you kind of see like some kids, like you start to see their personality come out. I don't know, anyone got like a younger brother or sibling, right? And you're like, you know what I'm talking about, right? Like they seem to maybe whine a lot or complain a lot. They're starting to like emerge as their own individual. It's a cool thing, but it's about this stage. Are they becoming more independent, right? And can they do things successfully? or maybe not. And of course, the classic example is potty training, like, woohoo, you did a poo-poo in the potty. Successful, they're becoming autonomous, they're becoming independent, and who around them is saying things like, hey, great job, or are they saying things like, what are you doing, or you can't do that? Hopefully, the message is positive. Now, stage 3, initiative versus guilt, 3 to 5 years old. This is like play age, right? So it's like preschool, almost to kindergarten, right? Kids kind of have that I can do it mentality, right? Kids are they're like leading the show, they're in control, like playing with like dress up and stuff like that, becoming other people, kind of experiencing like or learning who they are through characters, and self-esteem starts to build through that, right? Like maybe you watch SpongeBob, okay? Maybe Beavis and Butthead is kind of an old reference, but I don't know if anyone knows that. But maybe you watched South Park a lot. Maybe you watched other cartoons, and you had like a character that you could identify with, and you kind of took on some of that identity of the character as you kind of start to figure out who you are. That's all part of this stage. Now, stage 4, industry versus inferiority. So that's like 5 to 12. So really, it's really school age, like elementary school, getting closer, maybe going into middle school. Where kids start to figure out like what are they into, like what music do they like, or what are their hobbies? Are they doing any sports, and are they following in any other person's footsteps? Kids start to look up to people, and you might be thinking, oh yeah, I started looking up to my big brother or my tia or whomever. But and also in that looking up kind of thing, sometimes in this stage, kids will start to compare themselves to others, and that's okay. You say like, hey, maybe I'm better than him, I'm better than her, or they're better than me, and can a person be okay with that? Like, I don't know if you're good at ball, but I was pretty good, but I couldn't really spin the ball. So like other people could spin the ball like on their finger, and I was like, man, those people got it. Like I wish I could do that. I could not do that, but I try. But there's this kind of comparison to others. Like, am I good enough? Right? It's good to have opportunities to try, and it's also good to have opportunities to fail. Right? We can learn from those opportunities, and we can move forward. In fact, I don't think I've ever seen someone succeed who hasn't failed in their life. They just don't give up. Now, stage 5, identity versus role confusion, 12 to 18. That's probably where most of you are right now, right? This is adolescence. Who am I? What am I? What is my role in life? Like these are like deep questions. You may be asking yourself these questions. Maybe not this morning, or maybe so as you start to get older, or you're a junior. What am I going to do for my career? Right? What is that going to look like? What is my job going to be? Right? What is my job next week? I need to put some food on the table, right? I know there's a lot happening right now, and so sometimes these questions, even like the next stage, might be starting to crop up right now for some of you, and it's all right. These are things that we're here to talk about, and it's good to think about this a little bit, put some words to it, get it out of here. Sometimes there's a lot of weight up here, or there's like it's like hard sometimes to turn off the radio, and we need to share like what's going on, and take some of the weight out of the pressure out. What about relationships? I mean, y'all don't have any problems with relationships, do you? I think that's true for just about every stage. Right? So we'll leave that one to be explored further. What about this one? What about the parent-child relationship? Right. So we're continuing here, stage 5, looking at how we interact with our parents or our family members or whomever we're living with, those that we look up to, how we kind of reclassify that and maybe prioritize some relationships, but not others. Maybe I'm closer to this side of the family, but I'm not so close to that side, or maybe I want to be, right? We look at the interaction or the impact of social interaction and peer relationships on the individual. And there's kind of a goal for this stage is is to kind of explore oneself, and at the end to kind of have a good idea of what that is. But it takes time, and so it's not always confirmed by the time someone reaches 18. As people get a little older, they're still figuring out, who they are and what they want to do with their lives. And that's normal. Now the next stage, 18 to 40 years of age, is intimacy versus isolation. So, like people maybe get married at this time, start having a family. A lot of people go into work and pour themselves into that. People trying to figure out what's important to them, but there's often this kind of togetherness, or maybe an individuation or individualism, where people are just, working hard in their career. And there's different things. There's no one way to do this. Sometimes we kind of go back to an earlier stage, and if there were strong relationships there, maybe there will be strong relationships in this stage. If there was mistrust, or there's a lot of, if someone was very, autonomous and was very much of an individual or independent, then maybe they continue in that. And that's why there's just all sorts of different people. So, it's cool. You kind of recognize what you value, what you enjoy. These are good things. All right, stage 7, generativity versus stagnation. This is adulthood. It's probably where your parents are right now. Are they giving back? Is there a contribution to society? Maybe people are starting to share their experiences with youth, and as a coach, kind of reinventing themselves, or kind of getting connected more to their community and figuring out like their life purpose, right? What's meaningful to them. Of course, the last stage, 65 and older, is stage 8, integrity versus despair. This is like where that deep, like existential, we talk about like really like reflective thought, like what have I done with my life, right? Have I contributed? Have I been helpful? Or for those that are maybe retiring and thinking about, well, what do I want to do next with my life? It's not over yet. I'm still making moves and making things happen. What do I want to do with my time? And so these are the 8 stages of psychosocial development. And I want to just bring them up here so we can kind of look at them as we transition here to the reflective questions that are going to be done on your own and whatnot. But just kind of take a look there, kind of see what stands out to you and whatnot. It's a lot to cover in just a short amount of time, but hopefully give you a little bit of thought and reflective material for who you are and why you are this way, as well as what's next, right? What's next in life? What's the next stage going to bring? All right. Now, if you want to continue the conversation and you'd like to do that with someone else, I want to show you how we make that happen. So over here, this is our district website. You just scroll down a little bit. You will find our mental health resources on the right. Click on that little icon there, that square, and this will take you to our resources page as part of our social work program. And you got cool things here, like our CVUHSD virtual calming room. Click on that if you haven't done so already. Really cool things. Click on this next link to submit a counseling support request if you want someone to contact you and reach out about different things you might be thinking about or want to share with someone. You'll see all of our social work information was there as well. And you can pause if you need to rewind here and go back for a second. The next information is some text lines and hotlines if you need to call outside of school hours. So there's resources during school, and of course there's stuff outside of school. Just want to let you know that we're here for you, and let's keep this conversation going. Does that sound good? All right, we're moving forward. We're going to the other side of the rainbow, right? I know there's journeys up ahead for all of us, and we're here to support you through it. And we appreciate you being here with us today. And I'll leave it to your teachers and whatnot to put up those reflective questions. And you have a good rest of the week and a good rest of the day. And we'll talk to you next time.